Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Steve Sundstrom. So here's a question for you. What do MASH and Hogan's Heroes have in common? I mean, other than being two of the most popular wartime sitcoms of all time? Well, the answer? A quiet, lanky actor who never had the top billing, but whose face became familiar to millions. Roy Goldman. Now you might not know his name off the top of your head, but trust me, if you're a fan of classic television, you've seen him. So today, we're going to dive into the career of Roy Goldman, one of those character actors who built his career not by hogging the spotlight, but by being the glue in the background, the kind of actor that makes the show's world feel real. Now, I've mentioned this before, but there's a podcast called MASH Matters, which, if you're a fan of MASH, you should definitely subscribe to, as it's fantastic. Back in 2020, that podcast had a guest on named Roy Goldman, who talked about his dad, Roy, and shared some great stories about him. You should definitely check out that episode. One of the things I learned from that podcast was that Roy Goldman was originally from New York City's Lower East Side. He moved to California at the age of 18, where he spent a lot of time at the iconic Muscle Beach. It was here that he was discovered and asked if he wanted to be an extra, which led to him getting a role on Hogan's Heroes. Now, Hogan's Heroes was a sitcom set in a German POW camp during World War II. Now, if you're thinking, wait a minute, a comedy about a Nazi prison camp? Yeah, it sounds absolutely insane on paper, but it worked, thanks to the great writing and a stellar ensemble cast. Roy Goldman joined the show in 1965, right from its very first season. He would appear in a total of 88 episodes during the show's run. He wasn't the star Bob Crane, Warner Klemperer, or John Banner. They got that spotlight, but Goldman's job was to make the world believable. He became a sort of background staple of Hogan's Heroes, showing up in dozens of episodes. Now, if you ever catch yourself watching reruns, you will spot Roy. Now, here's a fun fact for you. Roy Goldman appeared in the opening title montage for Hogan's Heroes, essentially making him part of the cast of every episode. Now, Roy's involvement in Hogan's Heroes led to the meeting of Gene Reynolds, who directed 34 episodes of Hogan's Heroes from 1965 through 1967. When Hogan's Heroes wrapped up in 1971, Roy didn't leave TV behind. Just a year later, another military comedy would come calling. This one about a mobile army surgical hospital in Korea. Yep, MASH. So when Gene Reynolds became involved in the development of MASH for television, Roy Goldman was able to make the transition over to this new show. Now, Roy never played one of the main doctors or nurses. Instead, he was part of the recurring background ensemble that gave MASH its realism. He often appeared as one of the orderlies, and a fun fact, his character was actually named Roy Goldman. That's right, they just used his real name. Over the course of MASH's 11-year run, Roy appeared in over 50 episodes. You'd see him walking stretchers into surgery, working around the mess tent, or just standing there with that calm, unflappable demeanor. He wasn't delivering Alan Alda's one-liners, but he was helping sell the illusion that the 4077th was a fully functioning unit. And this is the thing that I love about Roy Goldman's career. He represents an entire class of actors who rarely get the spotlight. These are the men and women who show up episode after episode, fleshing out the world of the show. Imagine MASH without those familiar background faces. Sure, you'd have Hawkeye and Radar and Hot Lips Houlihan, but the camp wouldn't feel alive. Roy Goldman and others like him made it more believable. In fact, Goldman became so associated with MASH, the fans still mention him today. He may not have had the punchlines, but he definitely had a presence. In the MASH series finale, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, there's a scene where Colonel Potter asked everybody to share what they're going to do when they go home, and Roy chimes in by saying, "I don't know what I'm going to do." Now apparently, according to his son, that was really the truth for Roy. He really didn't know what he was going to do next. After MASH ended, Roy did continue to find work, often in uncredited small roles in TV shows such as Matlock, LA Law, Falcon Crest, and even appearing in 9 episodes of Cheers. Sadly, Roy Goldman passed away in 2009 at the age of 78. He didn't leave behind a flashy Hollywood resume filled with starring roles. But what he did leave is arguably just as important. A body of work that millions of people have seen, whether they realize it or not. So here's the takeaway. Actors like Roy Goldman are the unsung heroes of television. They might not have their names above the title, but they're the reason the world feels consistent and immersive. He helped make Hogan's Heroes funny and MASH heartbreaking simply by being there, episode after episode. So what do you think? Do you remember spotting Roy Goldman on MASH or Hogan's Heroes? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, tell me which other unsung heroes of classic television you'd like me to cover in a future episode. And of course, if you enjoyed this little dive into TV history, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories from the golden age of television. As always, thank you so much for watching, stay safe out there, and have a great day.